we are going to be working on another flying serpent, and I am super excited about it. I do think I want to do one in blue as well. I did decide on more of a lavender, but I'm going to show more of the process this time. So this video is going to be a little bit longer. So I will show some of the things I'm using, like this pencil and of course my pre-painted red mixed media papers. They're either the mixed media or they're the hot pressed smooth 30% cotton watercolors that I'm doing the acrylics on. And in this one I also do more of a thin layering on the acrylics, like building up the layers. I couldn't decide exactly where I wanted the wing to be, or the shape of the wing, or how I wanted the wing to be folded into his curl. Is that what you call it when a snake lifts its head and kind of curls around? It's curl. And I did want the tail to come up on the side this time, and just kind of in a really cool way, like how he would be flicking through the air. So what I did in this one is I decided to show a lot more of the process, and I'll try to zoom in to show some of the details, but I'll also speed it up. Like and subscribe today if you love creative videos, creating things, building things, even making meals. I do have you can find them in my video feeds. I do have a pink apple pie video out, and I also have a making homemade chicken soup from scratch using a whole chicken. And I try to keep those sweet as well, sweet and short. But in this one you'll see, like, because I paint so meticulously or slow, I did speed up quite a bit of this for you, but wanted to get more in for those of you who see, here we go. For those of you who enjoy some time lapse, more design paintings when you watch painting videos, because they're fun to watch and relax. And I figured if you wanted to watch it over again or anything like that, you can always just mute my voice, not have to hear what I have to say. There's not much to say, really. I do notice that in the recording part of this looks like a gray I'm using. It is not a gray. It is a dark blue, as well as the sienna blue and a magenta and a little bit of red. So it's actually a very muted down, I don't want to call it purple, but it is. It looks gray here, but it's actually closer to a purple color. Again, all I'm doing with the colors here is sharing them amongst the subjects and painting out a little bit of values, just the mid-tone values, right? So the color's not as important. I'm also just trying to decide how lavender I want the bird. I almost called him a bird.
Yeah.
I guess we could say lilac or lavender. How purple-like I wanted him, or is that the color I was going to end up with? Because I could have just as easily ended up with some other colors. But they do, because it's really the values that I'm going after. It was on this one I've noticed, because I chose the lavenders and less greens in the snake until I get to the tail, that the red background I was going to have to put some gold in before I was finished with the final dark and light values, putting on the darkest and the lightest. And I did do extra gold layers, like it took basically 3 gold layers in several different stages here. And you can see easier on this clip here how I'm actually layering. So by the time I come back to this part, I'll just putting on a little bit more to work up the value, work up the color I want. And then I'll go to a different part of the painting and work on that and let that dry. Because it's acrylic, even though I do have mediums in it, the extenders, they do dry much faster than like regular type of paints, like oils and stuff. And I decided on this one to have him smelling the butterfly while he's flying after it to catch it. So I did decide to have his tongue sticking out on this one. I also decided to call them more like, instead of flying serpents or snakes, I'm thinking of them more like dragons. I do leave some of the belly with an open red, as you will see, so you get to kind of see the layers and the red coming through, because it kind of looked like there was a little fire in the belly, and I liked that. I thought that was really cool, so I did go ahead but that you can see it more and more as I keep working on it, how it kind of came out. And I actually did entertain the idea of going in and highlighting the fire effect in the belly so you could really tell that there was light behind it. And I'm still kind of thinking about that idea. Like, I might keep working on this beyond what you see in the video here and actually, but I didn't want the fire to be in the belly to be the focal point. So I may not do it. I might just do it on the next one. But this one just looks perfect for like just a little bit of fire in the belly where the heart would be, you know. So I may still do it. I just kind of feel like, well, the first thing you see when you see the painting then is that highlighting of the belly. And I'd rather have the face and the butterfly kind of be the focus. You know, like when you look, you notice the flowers and you come down along the tail, and it's just how the eye moves around the painting. So I just wasn't sure if I really go for that effect, but this is surrealism, so you can do whatever you want, pretty much. But it's nice to think of the composition and how different things are affecting different parts of the painting. So I still might do it. I mean, I feel like it's bright enough, like you notice it. But it would help with it feel like, and I like that you can see the transparency. Like if I go in to add more highlights for the belly part or the heart part, you won't see it as so much of transparency. And I kind of like that too, like being able to see the layers a little bit. But I don't know. It's to each his own, right? It's just a different way of painting when you paint more in layers than really thick with the acrylics. But even then, once I start adding this gold, you can really see the paint texture underneath the gold, all the red, the texture from the red, the texture from the body. And it's not like super texture, like it's not like totally lifting out. You'll also notice how I'm kind of bringing the flowers to the foreground. I'm still working on just sharpening up the composition that I have here and sharing the colors. So whenever I paint one of the colors, because I know I'm doing this in layers, so whenever I'm painting colors on like this, I do try to share that color with the surrounding objects. It helps it sort of look a little bit more like reflection. It helps it tie the whole piece in. So when you're painting and you paint everything individually and not like here's a leaf, here's a flower, and you don't share those colors with the other objects around it, like either in a, it doesn't have to be in a glaze-like layer, but you just need to share the colors. You need to decide, or you can decide what your dominant color is and make sure that all the other objects. So it's hard to see in here, and I may not have caught it in a clip. I think there's a couple of the clips you can see me doing it, like when I did it with the butterfly. And what it is like, for instance, when I was doing his lavender-like color, I would go and just, you can kind of see it here, just on the leaves and some of the tail, I added a slightly little bit of lavender. And I also did it to the butterfly because I want the whole thing tied in. Like the whole thing's the book, the whole thing's the message or the subject. So you just want to kind of tie it in that way, you know, like, okay, I'm going to use this color over here. And then, yeah, it just helps with reflection. You can see with the green and the flower bud right off there. See how I had that green also on the body? So even if it gets painted over a little bit And those, if as long as you just keep sharing the colors back and forth a little bit, and you just kind of get used to doing this, like if you like that look, kind of gives it a little bit more of a realistic look. Like when you're out and about and you're looking for subjects to paint, you don't sometimes realize how much, unless you're really looking for it. And I love to look for it. I love the luminosity of something being caught by an object around it. So I actually look for color grabs like that, if you will. I don't know what you want to call it, but reflections. And like even on the neck of the snake, I don't know if you can see it really, underneath the texture of the pattern of the scales, that you can see that slight green right at the turn of the neck. That's because I've picked up the reflection from the flowers. And the end result really does just give you a little bit more of a realistic and not so much of a plasticky look to your art. You also kind of do, there's a bunch of other things too that help with that, like sharp edges, soft edges. I mean, there's a lot to it, obviously, right? And it's more important to really enjoy the process. The other thing I really love about painting in acrylics over oils, I mean, you can do it with oils. It's just, you have to wait much longer in between layers, right? Because your oil has to dry or it just becomes muddy and can mix together. I liked how the chest was coming out here, but I did need to move but can you kind of see how the chest looks like there's a little light in it right now even? But yeah, I like to, if you make a mistake in acrylic, let's get back to that subject. Or at least some things happen and you're kind of like, wow, I thought that would look better and now I'm changed my mind about that particular thing. It's going to be a little bit more challenging to change a big thing in the painting if you've painted in layers like this, because you're kind of starting over if you decide, yeah, I don't like that. But the great thing about acrylics is you can pretty much right away completely change maybe something that's not working in it by painting over it. And even if it's not about building up colors, you can just paint over it. Then you just have to decide how opaque you have to go, or, you know. But I've kind of a few times, and I've observed other artists doing it in their videos, and it gives you more of a relaxed feeling of, okay, you don't have to have it come out perfect the first go around if you don't like it. And it frees up your creativity. It frees up you just being able to go for it, because, well, if this is a mistake, or if I don't want the bud here, whatever it is in your mind, I'm just picking things out for an example, then you could literally paint over it, repaint. The most, because I did this on paper right now and I'm not doing it on canvas, is trying to hide the texture. Like, so you don't see the object underneath the painting. But it's very friendly. It's very artistically friendly, that it frees up that, oh, I'm not concerned about making a mistake, because if I don't like this, or if I get a smudge there, I just paint over it and change it into something else. So that's what I really like about acrylics. I'm not saying you can't do that with other mediums. I'm just saying I find the acrylic to be the easiest repair medium. Is that what you want to call it? So like, for instance, when you're painting with gouaches and you go back over it, sometimes, unless you put a fixative on, your gouache will lift the layer of gouache underneath of it. So unless that's the look you're looking for, it can be frustrating. With watercolor, you could either lift, or you can see too easily the layer below it. You have to think backwards and be very meticulous with watercolors. You kind of have to learn that medium, and then you kind of have to learn watercolors and then kind of really pre-think out, unless you're just letting the medium do most of the work. It's kind of hard to explain. But charcoal pastels, you make a mess up, your charcoal might not even come out of the paper well enough for you to repair it. Then you kind of start over. Do you know what I mean? So I find it much more relaxing, actually, since I've gotten used to. I used to be an oil painting snob is what I call it. I only painted in oils at all times. And then I started having fun with all these other mediums. Like they'd have a sale on a medium in the store or whatever. And I'm like, why am I so uptight? And ever since then, I've just been having a blast. And I guess I would have to because I paint so much. But I really hope that you love this video. Please like and subscribe. And if you want to join me for some more painting fun, I do pop surreal, I do realism, I do charcoal pastels. Lately, it's been much more of my work has been the acrylics as well as the sculpture paintings, where the painting itself is more of a sculpture as well. Those are a lot of fun. You can find some of those on the channel. And I try to keep the videos relatively short, so if you've got 10 or 20 minutes or even 5 minutes, I have some that are around 5 minutes, you can pick the one that's the timing that you want to watch. And like I said, you don't always have to listen to me talking and yapping. You could just mute me if you want to see it again on how I did something this way or I did something that way. I love to watch people paint, and even especially if it's something very interesting or cool or I like the way they did something, I'll go back and watch it again and again and again. And I just think it's fun. So the layers here, I'm just kind of building them up, moving from one side to the next to put on this gold layer. Because I do, and that's why I jump from section to section, because the gold's a little bit of a different acrylic. This is a high-end one. It's one you really shouldn't even breathe the fumes of. I don't want to say it's an enamel like gold, but it's very, very fine grain, so it's very shiny. It is expensive. It's from an American-made company called Folk Art. I'll show you the container here in a minute, if I haven't already. Did we already pass that clip? Anyway, I've tried other golds. This gold is my favorite by far. You can kind of see it in the videos, but when you see it in person, it really does look a lot like gold leaf, but you didn't leaf it. So when you do the gold, although you can really see, I might not be able to see it on here, all the little brush strokes that are behind the gold. You see all the paint brush strokes, which is kind of cool. I think I mentioned in one of my last videos how sometimes the golding part is my favorite because I'm not worried about the design, I'm not worried about the colors. Flowers. Just love it. It's looking really cool. Even looks like he's got a little fire in his belly, like a dragon. So I still have, it's looking really good, but I have another layer I want to put on. I've got like a thick enough layer down here. But we're still, I don't know if you can see the warm coming through the gold. Still have that up there to do. I just love it so much. Can you picture this in just a really ornate gold frame? Because it was gold, it just would look amazing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another look at it tomorrow during the day in the light and decide, because I don't know if you can see, I did put a little sheen on the snake as well. That's like more than just the normal acrylic sheen. And the butterfly wings and the flowers, and it is awesome. Little baby snake. But I can see where I need, even with this light, a little bit more gold. Probably another layer. Like down here, it looks just fine. But I can just still see where there's a couple little places that I can do some more gold layer. And the gold, again, I'm using is this. They did just raise the price on this. It's from American-made company. And the last price I paid was actually $15 for 4 ounces. I've tried other golds and other metallics, but this is just a fantastic one. And I just love him. There. But I still need to, like I said, I think I'm doing another layer of gold. Like and subscribe if you love things being created or like art being created. I'm sharing little snippets of that, of the things that I'm accomplishing that day. We will see you on the next one.